gmna uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening, New York. Tonight we'll explore the city's new Civil Service Fellowship expansion to 400 slots, the Amtrak tunnel rehab that's curbing LIRR service, and a spritz-laden Italian bar opening in the East Village, plus a quick traffic snapshot. Over to you, Andre.
The new bar named La Costa opens today on East Village's East 12th Street, founded by alumni of the Dante Culinary School, featuring a spritz-heavy menu.
La Costa will serve drinks from noon until midnight, with a rotating selection of Italian aperitifs and small plates inspired by coastal neighborhoods of Italy.
The venue includes a small stage, offering live acoustic performances Thursday through Saturday, showcasing emerging New York musicians alongside classic Italian lounge tunes.
Lots to get to, let's begin. Here are our top stories. The city's Civil Service Fellowship program is expanding, doubling slots to 400 and adding a second cohort each year, giving recent CUNY graduates more pathways into municipal jobs. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
The city's Civil Service Fellowship program just doubled, opening 400 slots for recent CUNY graduates instead of the previous 200. The Department of Citywide Administrative Services will run 2 cohorts each year, giving new hires a direct path into municipal jobs. Commissioner Yum Kitase announced the expansion, saying the added capacity is designed to jump-start careers for graduates eager to serve the city. Participants will be placed in a range of city agencies, gaining on the job experience while filling entry-level positions. The move aims to strengthen the pipeline of talent into local government and give young professionals a foothold in public service. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, New York City.
Amtrak has finished rebuilding the first segment of the East River Rail Tunnel that links Penn Station with Queens, a milestone that follows a full closure of one tunnel last year. The project, part of a 4-tunnel system, addressed damage dating back to the 2012 hurricane that battered the infrastructure. While the new section is now operational, Long Island Rail Road service remains constrained as crews continue work on the remaining tunnels. Riders have faced reduced frequencies and longer travel times since the 2025 shutdown, and the agency warns additional delays may persist until the final phases are completed. MTA officials said the rehabilitation is essential to restore full capacity for both Amtrak and LIRR trains that traverse the East River corridor. Commuters can expect modest improvements, though full capacity won't return until the remaining tunnels are finished.
At about 1:10 p.m. today, NYPD officers responded to a daylight shooting outside the Glenwood Houses playground at 1658 Ralph Avenue in Flatlands, Brooklyn. A woman was the only person wounded, and she was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. Law enforcement sources said several male suspects are now being sought in connection with the incident. The shooting unfolded in broad daylight near the residential play area, prompting detectives to canvass the block and collect statements from witnesses. The NYPD confirmed the case remains under active investigation and that officers continue to search for those responsible. The Glenwood Houses playground, situated at 1658 Ralph Avenue, serves families residing in the surrounding public housing towers.
New York City will allow landlords to purchase exemptions from Local Law 97, the emissions reduction ordinance, despite Mayor Zoran Mamdani's pledge to tighten standards. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
Landlords across the city can now purchase exemptions that let them sidestep the requirements of Local Law 97, the emissions reduction ordinance aimed at curbing building-related carbon output. The mayor, Zoran Mamdani, announced the program this week, saying the option will give property owners a way to stay financially viable while the city tightens the law's limits. Under the new scheme, owners submit a fee and receive a waiver that removes the need to meet the strict emissions caps set for their buildings. Critics note that buildings are the single biggest source of carbon in New York, and the ordinance was meant to push owners toward greener upgrades. The exemption program is expected to roll out immediately, with applications opening tomorrow. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, New York City.
City officials announced that CAMBA, the nonprofit that runs supportive housing for homeless families, has reached a settlement requiring the agency to present non-paying tenants with alternative financial remedies before moving forward with eviction proceedings. Under the agreement, tenants facing rent arrears will be offered options such as payment plans, emergency cash assistance, or referrals to legal counseling, giving them a chance to address balances without losing housing. The settlement, set to take effect today, targets thousands of households across the 5 boroughs, many of whom grapple with mental health or substance use challenges. Advocates say the move could reduce the city's eviction caseload and keep vulnerable families in stable homes. CAMBA will work with the city's housing department to roll out the program over the coming weeks. The agreement also includes periodic reporting to ensure compliance and transparency. Later, we'll dive into the OpenAI lawsuit filed by textbook authors and see how it could reshape education technology. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Textbook authors filed a class action lawsuit against OpenAI on Saturday in Manhattan, accusing the AI firm of illegally harvesting hundreds of academic volumes from pirated websites to train its generative platforms. The complaint alleges that OpenAI scraped content from unauthorized sources and incorporated it into the datasets that power its chat and image models, without obtaining permission from the publishers or authors. Plaintiffs argue the practice amounts to copyright infringement and seeks damages and injunctive relief to halt further use of the disputed material. The filing arrives amid a growing wave of legal challenges targeting AI developers for training on copyrighted works. OpenAI has previously defended its methods, saying it relies on publicly available data and that its models generate original output. The case now moves forward in federal court, where a judge will decide whether the claims proceed.
City shelters are falling apart, with Schwartz Men's Shelter on Ward's Island cited for noisy, cramped spaces and Volunteers of America urging faster repairs. Officials say the current process stalls needed fixes. Raphael Brannigan has the full story.
Inside the Schwartz Men's Shelter on Ward's Island, volunteers and staff are wrestling with cramped, noisy congregate rooms that offer little privacy. Providers from Volunteers of America say the entire city shelter system is suffering from deteriorating conditions, and the current repair process is proving ineffective. Broken windows, leaking roofs, and peeling walls have become the norm, forcing residents to endure daily disruptions. Officials acknowledge the shelters are crumbling, but repairs have stalled, leaving the facilities in a state of disrepair. Advocates argue that fixing these structures would allow homeless residents to transition out of shelter more quickly, improving outcomes for families across the city. Raphael Brannigan, GMNA News, Ward's Island.
State funding shortfall is jeopardizing services for rape survivors across New York. The Office of Victim Services told dozens of nonprofit organizations this month that the state grant money they were expecting has been reduced or canceled. Because applications far exceeded the limited pool of funds, the agency warned that many programs could see cuts to counseling, legal advocacy, and emergency shelter. The shortfall affects groups operating in every borough, from crisis hotlines in Manhattan to support centers in the Bronx and Brooklyn. Officials say the funding gap stems from an unprecedented number of requests for the same grant cycle. While the office continues to evaluate allocations, providers say they are scrambling to find alternative resources to keep critical assistance available. The situation remains fluid as agencies seek emergency financing to avoid service disruptions.
Yesterday evening, a city-run study concluded the congestion pricing program has not produced a measurable improvement in New York's air quality. The analysis, prepared by municipal officials, compared pollutant levels before the scheme launched in 2023 with data through the summer of 2026. Researchers found only a slight change in nitrogen oxides and fine particulate matter, with most monitoring sites showing essentially unchanged readings. City leaders had promoted the fee on Manhattan's busiest entry zones as a way to cut traffic and emissions, yet the report suggests the traffic reduction goal has not translated into cleaner air. The Department of Environmental Protection released the findings on Sunday, noting that the program's revenue, estimated at several $100 million annually, is earmarked for subway and bus upgrades. A city briefing next week will outline next steps.
Police intercepted a group of drivers performing donuts and burnouts on Sawgrass Drive, tracking them to Medford where several were arrested and vehicles impounded. Raphael Brannigan has the full story.
Drivers rolled through Sawgrass Drive late Thursday, spinning donuts and staging burnouts that drew crowds along the residential stretch. Officers from the Long Island Police Department traced the convoy using dash cam footage and coordinated a traffic stop as the group entered the outskirts of Medford. Police vehicles cut off the racers at the intersection of Oak Street, forcing the stunt drivers to abandon their cars. 5 motorists were taken into custody and 3 cars were towed to the precinct for evidence. No injuries were reported, though several bystanders were urged to keep a safe distance. The operation marks another crackdown on illegal street takeover events that have plagued the area in recent months. Raphael Brannigan, GMNA News, Medford.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see how tonight's weather will shape your plans. A deepening ridge and a westward jet are suppressing fronts, leaving tonight's sky clear and temperatures steady. On this date, the city's all-time heat peak sits at 87 degrees, recorded in 2015 during an extended mid-July heat wave that pushed daily maxima into the 90s across the Northeast. The cold extreme is 53 degrees, set in 2025 when an Arctic dip slipped southward, blanketing the region in sub-freezing air for a brief but intense snapback. By contrast, the climatological average high for August 17th hovers around 78 degrees, with a mean low near 66, placing today's 82 degrees comfortably above normal. The live radar is a blank canvas across the tri-state, no echoes in the east, central, or offshore sectors. With the ridge aloft and the mid-level jet streaming west to east at roughly 51 knots, any lingering moisture is being sheared apart, reinforcing the dry, stable air mass. Expect the next pulse of precipitation to stay well south of the Hudson, leaving the city clear for the remainder of the evening. At 6 p.m., the city sits at 82 degrees with a partly cloudy veil and humidity near 73%. The north wind is a gentle 6 miles per hour, while pressure is nudging upward, signaling a drier, more stable air mass moving in from the northeast. Overhead, the mid-level jet streams westward at 51 miles per hour, reinforcing the ridge and suppressing any late-day lift that could spark showers. With no fronts in the vicinity, tonight will drift cool into the low 70s, reaching 75 by 9. The UV index sits at 4, a modest level for the lingering twilight. No weather alerts are active, so residents can focus on the clear, smooth night ahead. Looking ahead, Tuesday will climb to 84 degrees with a low of 70, the sky unmarred by clouds and the ridge remaining firmly in place. Wednesday nudges a touch higher to 86, still dry, as the jet stream continues its westerly path, keeping any disturbance aloft. Thursday brings the first break in the pattern. A weak trough slides east, allowing a band of light rain to brush the city with about 50% probability, and temperatures dip to 79 with a low near 68. Friday rebounds to 82, clear and breezy, as high pressure reasserts itself. Saturday mirrors Friday's warmth at 82, but carries a modest 20% chance of scattered showers, lingering as the ridge weakens toward next week. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. Up next, traffic on the L, N, and R lines, a Spritz bar opening, and Mets, Mauricio getting playing time. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
The L train is the biggest hit this afternoon, running on a single track between Broadway Junction and Canarsie Rockaway Parkway. Riders are seeing delays of 10 to 15 minutes as crews finish weekend track work. The N train is also slowed by ongoing weekend maintenance, with northbound service holding up to 5 minutes at peak stations. On weekdays, the R train will be out of service from August 24 through August 28, so commuters should plan for alternate routes or shuttle buses along the 4th Avenue corridor. Long Island Railroad riders on the Hempstead branch will see a reduced schedule as work around the Elmont UBS Arena proceeds, with some trains terminating at Floral Park and shuttle buses covering the gap. On the road, a single lane on the Springfield Boulevard Bridge over Belt Southern Parkway remains closed, as does one lane on the 130th Avenue Bridge over Belt Parkway. The Cross Island Parkway is operating with a single lane in each direction. Expect slowdowns on those stretches, especially during the evening rush.
East Village welcomes a slice of the Italian coast as Dante Alums debut their Spritz Heavy Aperitivo Bar, opening today. Sip a bittersweet spritz while the kitchen rolls out fresh seafood pasta and a late-night discoteque menu, a neighborhood hangout that turns a weekday into a mini vacation. If you're looking for live music, Olivia Dean will take the stage at Madison Square Garden later this week, offering a soulful set that's already selling out. Her voice blends pop and R&B, a must-see for anyone craving fresh talent. Literary lovers can mark their calendars for the NYPL's inaugural Big Summer Book Club at the Delacorte Theater in Central Park, a free night of readings and conversation with award-winning author N.K. Jemisin. The program makes world-class storytelling accessible to park goers. In Soho, Dominique Ansell's annual pie night returns, serving unlimited slices of 10 sweet and savory pies, an indulgent treat for any dessert fan. It's the perfect excuse to gather friends and sample creative flavors. And now here's Desmond with sports.
Here's the latest on New York's teams as the season unfolds. Ronnie Mauricio is healthy and thriving in Triple-A, but Mets owner David Stearns says the club isn't rushing him back for the final stretch of this lost season. Keeping him in the minors preserves depth and signals any promotion will depend on injuries rather than a strategic push. Knicks star Karl Anthony Towns exchanged vows with fashion designer Jordan Woods in a Malibu seaside ceremony, surrounded by white blossoms and a star-studded guest list. The wedding marks a major personal milestone, and while it won't alter his on-court role, the couple's high profile adds another layer to New York's basketball narrative. The Yankees' rotation is firing on all cylinders, with each starter delivering and a bullpen that can hold the line, yet the offense remains one of the most anemic in recent memory, echoing the 2013-14 squads that overperformed their run production. Addressing that gap will be crucial as the season heads into its final stretch. The Mets open a 3-game series against the Padres on Monday at Citi Field, marking the first matchup of the stretch. With both clubs looking to reset after recent struggles, the opener offers a chance for New York to establish momentum and test its revamped rotation. Jalen Brunson lifted the NBA Finals MVP trophy after the Knicks clinched Game 5 against the Spurs, capping a historic championship run. The triumph underscores the difficulty of stringing together back-to-back victories in a grueling schedule, as New York's depth and injury management will dictate future consistency. Yankees right-hander Ryan Weathers showcased a revamped arsenal in Toronto, leaning on sinkers instead of traditional four-seamers to dominate the Blue Jays lineup. The adjustment yielded higher strikeout rates and weaker contact, signaling a potential new approach for New York's rotation as the season progresses. Stay tuned. The next stretch promises more drama across the city.
Thanks, Desmond. Toby's Estate, now anchoring a new flagship cafe in Soho and a sleek spot at 295 Fifth Avenue, is taking its Australian specialty coffee deeper into Manhattan. After a year of quietly securing several storefronts, the brand has turned the city's coffee scene into a showcase of single-origin beans, precise pour-overs, and a community table that invites locals to linger. The expansion means more neighborhoods get a place to pause, chat, and taste the craft that's been fueling New Yorkers from Brooklyn to the Upper West Side. It's the kind of neighborhood hub that turns a quick caffeine run into a small ritual, reminding us why the city thrives on shared spaces. Stay tuned as we cover the NYPD response to recent crowd damage in Upper Manhattan and the latest Legionnaire's death toll update. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. The NYPD will increase patrols around Dickman Street Station after a Sunday crowd caused hundreds of thousands of dollars in property and vehicle damage. Officials say the heightened presence aims to deter further incidents. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
Police have rolled out additional officers around Dickman Street subway station after a Sunday crowd caused extensive property and vehicle damage. Officials say the disturbance left hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage, prompting a plan to boost police presence and deter any further gatherings. Officers are now stationed at station entrances, nearby streets, and key transit points, with visible patrols and barricades aimed at keeping order. City officials warned that a new assembly is expected later this week, and the heightened deployment is intended to prevent a repeat of the earlier chaos. Residents and commuters are being asked to cooperate as officers monitor the area for any signs of trouble. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, Dickman Street.
The City Health Department confirms 2 more Legionnaire's disease deaths on the Upper East Side, raising the toll to 9 as the outbreak continues. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
2 more victims have been added to the Upper East Side Legionnaire's disease outbreak, bringing the city's death count to 9. Health officials confirmed the latest fatalities on August 14th, saying both were hospitalized after developing severe respiratory symptoms earlier this month. The Department of Health and Mental Hygiene emphasized that the strain continues to spread through the neighborhood's aging water infrastructure, where aerosolized water from cooling towers is suspected. Earlier this summer, a separate surge in Harlem accounted for 5 deaths, underscoring the broader citywide challenge. Residents are urged to stay alert for fever, cough, and shortness of breath, and to seek medical care promptly if symptoms arise. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, Upper East Side.
Thank you, New York City, for watching the local sunset. Tonight's look at the expanded Civil Service Fellowship slots shows how our city invests in its future. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Stay safe, stay hopeful, and see you at sunset.